Hey everybody, welcome back to the Broke Urban Farmer channel. I'm Scotty, and today we are doing some fall foraging. I am out at what we call Evergreen little park trail area, and it runs down along our river, and I'm going to see what kind of goodies I can find out here. I have my carrying bag here that has some ball jars with lids and stuff in it, and my goal is to be able to leave today with 6 new foraged goodies to put into my pantry, either for medicinal uses or for teas and stuff like that. So I'll take you guys along, and as I discover new things, I'll share that with you. Okay, so it didn't take long to find our first forage, and it is of this lovely eastern red cedar tree. This is a female because it has the berries on it. So I'm going to be harvesting a few sprigs off of here because we can use the berries and we can use the the needles and the bark and stuff off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest this, and I'll go over, do a separate video on all the uses and stuff like that, and cover each specific one that I harvest individually. So not this video, but the next video, I'll send out different highlights of everything that I foraged. So, but this is the first one that I've come across, and the first one I'm going to go ahead and harvest. Okay, so I'm not an expert on the harvesting, but I took one sprig and I put it in my bag, and then I took some of these smaller ones, and I'm just filling up this little jar. I'm not taking a ton because obviously we don't want to damage the tree or anything like that, and these will be good all winter. That's the bonus. So you can be harvesting off of these all winter, so I can always come back and harvest off of other trees around the area. So that's what I got. It smells amazing though. Cedar trees. Okay, so we are at our second forage find. I've been out here for about an hour and a half now, and I'm only coming across the second forage find. When foraging and as a beginner, you have to be careful, so know what you're getting. And this is the second spot, only the second plant that I could easily identify and know that was safe to eat. And it's off of this tree here. I don't know if you can tell, but it is a northern red oak, so acorns. And there is a whole bunch of these big trees around. So I'm just gonna dig around and find some fallen acorns that are safe and together and not all busted up and broken, and we'll get our second harvest. Okay, so I'm done with the acorns. I think I was kind of late to this area. Most of them are pretty soft still. So these ones, I didn't see any weevil marks on them or holes, and then they're firm still. So there's our second harvest. Only taking this much so I can figure out how to use them before I do anything bigger in the future. So I am out at Evergreen Park on the trail, and this is the site of the old poorhouse or workhouse or the county home in Huntington County. And behind me here is the unmarked cemetery to the home. I tell you this story, 1, never go over this fence, respect the cemetery. But 2, I tell you that for backstory. So every single time I come out here, this is my favorite spot, to do nature photos. And today I'm out foraging, but that's beside the point. So this is my favorite spot, and every time I'm out here, I always hear somebody scream for help. One time it was so clear and loud, I actually called EMS to have them come investigate, but never fails, always hear it. And today was no exception. So there you go, there's my spooky little Indiana story. And I no longer call for help because pretty sure some of those folks might be to blame. Okay, so we're at our third harvest, our forage, I should say, our third forage plant, and it's. I was not expecting to actually find these, but here we go. Wild Rosehips. I just happened to see the berries over here, and I assumed it was berries from the honeysuckle, and those are poisonous, so don't get those. But I got closer, and then I saw thorns, and then I do have an app on my phone that verifies for me as well, and it is a wild rose bush. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of these, and then these ones are pretty small, and I know of another location here in town that has bigger ones, and we'll stop by there too to add to it. So forage number 3, rose hips. Okay, so I got the rose hips. That's all I took. And like I said, I know a spot that has bigger ones, so I'm going to go visit, and we'll add to these. So there we go, rose hips. So I actually found a second wild rose bush here that has a ton more berries, so I'm going to add some more to it. Okay, so actually now it is completely full. And as you can see, there's still hundreds of them in there. This was a huge plant. It goes way back there. And this particular plant was actually much younger than the one down there. So these ones were much fresher still. And so I'm excited to give these a try. Rosehips, free forage, what? Okay, so I'm back in my car. It's been like, I can't remember, at least 2, almost 3 hours since I went out on the trail. And I was only able to find the 3 forages here, at least for fall. So an important tip for foraging is still pay attention to what you notice around you for other seasons. So there are a ton of wild black raspberries over here, so I'm going to remember that, and I'll forage some of those this next year during the spring and summer. And then there's, what else was there? There's wild clover, because there's a prairie. There's, what was that? Goldenrod for next fall. It was all too, it was already done blooming at this point in the year, so I waited too late to get any goldenrod, at least from here. So the 3 fall successful things I was able to find at this location were red cedar, eastern red cedar, the acorns from the red oak, and then the rose hips from the wild roses. So I will mark this location. I have a notebook at home that I keep all my seed stuff in. I'll also make a section for foraging. And so for this area, I'll make a note for the 3 fall items, and then as well as those other season items that I can come out and forage for as well. So that's it for this location. Now I'm gonna go and drive around to a couple other locations to see if I can find a couple more of those fall items that I'm looking for. So we'll see. My goal is still to get 6, so I need to find 3 more forages to get there. So bear with me. Okay. Hey guys, so we're at our second location, which is the overlook mound at our reservoir. And I'm at a park spot right here. This is not where I'll be foraging. I'll be going off on the trails, but I wanted to flip you around and show you just the view. This is one of my favorite places to go. It is so beautiful. All seasons. It's gorgeous out here. It's hard to see, but there's the dam. Okay, our 4th foraging find, number 4, is eastern white pine. I'm going to be harvesting the needles and some of the smaller thin twigs. And this is more medicinal than anything else. Immune boosting and stuff like that. So there we go, number 4. Okay, so there's number 4. I also got a few branches that I put in the car as well, but there we go. White pine. Number 5 forage. Shagbark hickory. We're going to actually use this to make a syrup. So you harvest the bark. Obviously you don't want to take too much, but you'll harvest the bark, and then from that you can boil it and make a syrup. So we're going to try it. We'll see. Okay, so there's the bark that I harvest. There are several trees here, so I harvested from a couple different trees because you don't want to take too much from one tree. And the recipe that I have for the syrup calls for about a pound of bark, and I think that's gonna do it. So there we go. Forage find number 5 in the fall in Indiana is the shagbark hickory. Foraging find number 6 is the black walnut. So I found some of these out here. I'm actually not going to harvest from out here because my mother-in-law has a whole bunch of these in her yard, and so I'm going to go clean up her yard and grab a whole bunch of these. But there's number 6, and they're easy to find, and I always love the smell of them, but be careful, they will stain your hands. So there you go, 6 foraging finds in the fall in Indiana. Gotta love it.